Story 1. I'm going to leave my fiancé for my boyfriend. 6 months ago, my, female 25, fiancé, male 28, asked if I would be willing to have an open relationship. I agreed. Everything was okay until like 3 months ago when he asked if we could switch from open to poly. I agreed again. He started dating a girl from work, and I started dating a guy from my gym. Now, this guy, male 26, is so different from my fiancé. He takes me on dates every week. He brings me flowers and food at work. He texts me just to say hi. He's sweet and affectionate. My fiancé, however, we've been together for 4 years. He only gets me flowers for my birthday. He's never affectionate. His idea of a date is playing board games while watching The Witcher. They're very different in bed, too. With my fiancé, most of the time, intimacy is a chore. He's fast and rough, and then he goes to watch TV. My boyfriend, however, is very tender. He takes his time, and he checks if I'm enjoying it. He cuddles with me after and brings me snacks. I was talking to my mom about this, and she asked me which one makes me happier, and I guess it clicked. I like the way my boyfriend treats me, while my fiancé is more of a roommate at this point. After my talk with my mom, I decided to talk to my fiancé as well. I just told him that I wish he would be more affectionate with me. He just shrugged and he said he isn't into chick flicks. So I guess I'm going to break up with my fiancé because I don't want to marry a man that never takes me out or buys me flowers or holds my hand. I want someone that shows their emotions. I don't know if me and my boyfriend are going to work out since it's still new, but at least now I know I have options. I grew up around men that were emotionally unavailable, and most women in my family constantly told me that men aren't affectionate, so I guess I kind of believed it. My first 2 boyfriends were like this as well. They didn't like showing affection, and my fiancé is the 3rd guy I've been with. It feels good to know not all men are like my mom made me think they were. I'm on my way to have dinner with my fiancé, and I'm going to call off the engagement. And why did this person who is so emotionally unavailable want to go open and then poly? I mean, was he just thinking of you as some sort of safety net or something? It's great that you use this to have options. I mean, you agreed to it. It wasn't something going on behind your back or anything. But yeah, it's great to know that, and this should be said for a lot of people. If you feel trapped in a relationship, you probably have more options than you think.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 2. My girlfriend invited her ex over to my apartment, and I'm absolutely livid right now. I live in a big city in my own apartment. My girlfriend, Lily, lives with her roommates, but if I'm being honest, she basically lives over here 80% of the time. Early today/yesterday, while I was at the gym with my friend Mike, she texted me that she had an old friend she hasn't seen in a while that's in town, and that it would be nice to have a quiet place to catch up. I said they could use my apartment, and that I'd go out to dinner with Mike so they'd have time to catch up. During this time I'm at the gym, I was in a rush. I didn't ask who she was inviting over, etc. Well, apparently I should, as the old friend she was apparently catching up with alone in my apartment was her only ex-boyfriend, Kyle. Around 30-ish minutes after this conversation, I get a text from her saying they're at the apartment. I just said, bet, and continued with my friend. Mike and I finished our workout around 7 p.m., and we decided to go to Whole Foods as their hot/salad bars got some great food. We ate there and finished around 8:30-ish. I'm on my way home now, and honestly, I wasn't expecting anything other than just saying hi and heading my butt to bed. It had been a long day, and honestly, I was just ready to get to sleep. I arrived home around 9 p.m., and at this point I had no idea if her friend was still over or not. I was secretly hoping they weren't, as I didn't feel like socializing at all, but hey, I'll take one for the team. When I walked in the apartment, I saw some big old Timberland boots that obviously are a man's. I'm immediately like, frack, her friend brought her boyfriend. I'm going to have to stay up and socialize now. I take off my shoes and jacket and start heading down the mini hallway. As I enter the living area, I see my girlfriend sitting on the couch with a man at separate ends, but staring right at each other talking. My girlfriend notices me and jumps a little. I didn't really find this odd at the time, but now I think back on it, it makes sense. At this point, I'm still completely oblivious. I say, hello, and start walking towards the man. I'm looking around the house at this point for her friend. Honestly, I just thought she was in the bathroom or something. I shake the guy's hand and say something like, hey, I'm Lily's boyfriend. He replied back in a cocky way with some, I'm Kyle, Lily's ex. I was like, oh, my fault. I thought you were her friend's boyfriend. Then it got a little quiet, and I rapidly came to the realization that my girlfriend has been alone with her ex in my apartment for the last couple of hours. I look at my girl and say, so I'm taking this as your old friend? She said, yeah, in a soft voice. At this point, I wasn't letting myself jump to any conclusions, but I'm tired, and I don't feel like socializing. I'm also now upset that my girl was just chilling with her ex in my apartment. It got quiet again, and these two made zero effort to continue whatever convo they were having just moments ago. Like, Lily asks how my day was, and I was like, it was fine, I guess. Again, getting the vibe I'm interrupting something. At this point, I'm fed up. Only like a minute or so had passed since my question to her, and I look at him and ask Kyle, hey, do you mind ending it here for today? I actually got some things I got to talk to Lily about. And he said she invited me over though, and we're still reminiscing on the good old days. I look at Lily. She can't even look me in the eyes. I look back at Kyle and say, all right, let me rephrase it. This is my apartment, and I'm telling you to leave. He looks at her and says, do you want me to leave? At this point, I'm not proud of it. I completely lost my smeg, saying, what the frack do you mean by that? I don't give a smeg if she wants you to leave or not. I'm telling you to get the frack out of my house. Lily is telling me to calm down and turns and tells him he needs to leave. Kyle gets up and heads towards the hallway to get his stuff. I follow, and he ends up leaving. I come back, and Lily is now ticked at me, saying I embarrassed her. I embarrassed you? She then goes on about how my reaction is totally uncalled for, as she told me he was coming over and asked. I was like, no, Lily, you said a fracking friend was coming over. A fracking friend. Not once you mentioned this friend was a male, much less your fracking ex. She then says my reaction was hogwash and that I acted like a jerk. I tell her, you were with your fracking ex in my apartment. Do you not understand how much of a frack that comes across as? I then asked why the frack y'all were meeting in the first place, and she tells me he's going through rough times and needs someone to lean on. And that she just wanted to be there for him, as he's a nice person, and that by hanging with him in my apartment, it shows nothing shady is going on. I explain how that's hogwash, and that if my ex started having issues and I was the one comforting her, she would be ticked. She was like, no, she'd understand because she has empathy. I was like, that's hogwash, Lily. You got ticked at me at the gym because I smiled when a girl complimented my form when lifting. She then was like, she's done talking, and stormed out. I didn't say anything. I didn't chase. I didn't reach out. I just sat on the couch and thought about what the frack just happened. I then called my father, who gave me some great advice. She then texted me these 2 hours ago. Can we talk? I'm sorry for not telling you it was my ex that I invited over. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Nothing happened. Nothing is going to happen. I love you. He messaged me out of the blue, and he needed someone to talk to. I didn't think much of it. I'm sorry for deceiving you. It sounds like hogwash, right? I didn't think much of it. Then followed by sorry for deceiving you, like obviously you didn't think about it, or you would have been truthful. I wanted to talk to him at your place because I didn't want you to assume something else was going on. Please, talk to me. I love you. Obviously, if she sees this, she'll know I'm talking about us, but she doesn't use this site. I haven't responded yet. I'm leaning towards wanting to break things up with her after talking about all this with my pops. Not for her talking to him, but for how I felt in the moment it was all happening. It's a huge red flag for me that she said old friend instead of ex. I still don't get it. I'm the moment of me getting visibly upset with her ex. She didn't take my side once. When I was nice before I even recognized him, it felt like I was the odd man out. I just felt like she doesn't respect me. Not on some 1950s smeg where the woman has to respect the man, but if the roles were reversed and I was with my ex at her house, I would have backed my girl when she was getting mad. I would have called my ex out for talking cocky to my girl, etc. I'm still very ticked, so I don't think I should be talking to her right now. It's currently around 3 a.m. Honestly, I'm just fracking tired. I don't even know if I'm ticked. Maybe, well, you thought you could trust this woman. That's why you didn't ask any questions. It sounds like maybe who is this you're inviting over? But she did lie. And it is a huge red flag. Maybe you shouldn't have yelled. You should have been firm, should have been assertive. Maybe you shouldn't have yelled. That kind of makes you look kind of crazy. But yeah, maybe it's about time you spend some time apart. Hopefully she doesn't have a spare key to your apartment. Story 3. How I lost weight despite mother-in-law. This happened during Christmas of 2018. My now ex-mother-in-law was living with my ex-husband, 44 male, and I, 44 female. I was not particularly fond of mother-in-law. She's lazy, selfish, and entitled, among other things. A couple of weeks before Christmas, she asked me what size jackets I would wear. I wore medium large at the time, so obviously that's what I told her. Fast forward to Christmas morning, and I opened my present from her, which was a beautiful black spring-summer jacket from Fairweather in a size small. Keep in mind, when she asked me my jacket size and I told her, she repeated it back to me several times over the days before she purchased it. After opening it and seeing the size, I politely thanked her for it. Meanwhile, I was wondering why she bought that size, and if it was somehow a mistake on her part. The next morning, I got my answer, and she made no mistake. She approached me and said in her rural Newfoundland accent, "That was the last jacket like that on the rack. If it doesn't fit you, I'll have it." So instead of looking for another jacket in my size, she saw one she really liked and happened to be in her size. She bought it for me in her size, hoping that because it didn't fit me, I would just give it to her. I did ask her about using the receipt to return or exchange it, but she accidentally lost it. Instead of calling her out or giving her the jacket, I told her that the size is fine and how much I really liked it, which is true. Now, being perimenopausal and also having a hearty appetite, losing weight is a struggle for me. At the time, I was technically overweight for my height, and losing some weight was in my best interest. But until mother-in-law pulled that little stunt on me with my Christmas present, I wasn't that motivated to lose the weight. But by the next spring, the jacket fitted me perfectly. Mother-in-law was still living with us, and every time she saw me wear it, she would glare. Or look longingly at me wearing the jacket and say, Oh, I loved that jacket. I wish I could have gotten one for myself. 5 years later, her son and I are divorced, but still living together. I finally came out in the open about being lesbian, which is why we split. I still have and wear that jacket, especially when she comes in from around the bay. And she still comments on it. Why ask? Why would she do that? I mean, she's spending the money on this. Why not just buy that jacket and keep it for yourself? Or you want a budget for Christmas presents or something like that? And yeah, I mean, this person wanted to lose weight. She found the right motivation. Sometimes that's all it takes. Story 4. My sister didn't get into a single one of her dream schools, and I'm living for it. I don't like my youngest sister. I will admit that. She's always been a daddy's girl and never faced a single consequence in her life. While my parents are not narcissists or abusive, they've always been softer on younger sister than any of my other siblings. She's always been given privileges that were never given to any of the other siblings. It doesn't help that she's a selfish brat who's made it her mission to make all of her siblings' lives as hard as possible growing up. At some point, youngest sister realized she can just lie and get away with it, or really do anything and not face any consequences. This ranged from petty lying to get all of us in trouble to actual crime. She used to steal any cash she could find from all of us. My parents defended her and brushed it off, even after my oldest sister caught her on camera doing it. Youngest sister graduates from high school this year. My parents have been awfully quiet about her academics for the last 2 years. Despite all of their other children having high marks academically, all of us now having college degrees, they could never stop gushing about youngest sister and how smart she was. Until 2 years ago, when she nearly failed high school by ditching for an entire semester. Her GPA now is abysmal. She's barely graduating, from what I heard. Yet my parents and younger sister still thought she could get into a good school. Youngest sister's dream school was Yale, with Harvard a second pick. I'm not joking. Despite her graduation quickly approaching, I've heard nothing about youngest sister's college plans. And it turns out that my parents and she had kept it secret because she got accepted into 0 of the schools she wanted. They applied to 12, and she only got accepted into 1. The school she got accepted to accepts literally anyone with a pulse that can pay. What makes this more cathartic to me and makes me much prettier is, I think that means pettier. I don't know how this would make it prettier. Makes it pettier is when my older brother and I went to college, my father refused to use the money he saved for our college on us, claiming because we got scholarships we didn't need and he would save it for youngest sister. I know for a fact youngest sister is distraught right now. The point is moot anyway because she would fail/drop out of school anyway. But for the first time in her life, she's actually facing consequences, and I'm living for it right now. After the buzzer update, people are still interested in this. I've not rubbed salt in the wound, even if I really wanted to. I'm too busy with my own life to be as petty as I want to be right now. Youngest sister is going to a public university for the next 2 years. It has a 100% acceptance rate and is cheap. My parents say she will do great and go to a good school from there. That's 100% not going to happen. I did decide to actually talk to Dad, though, about the whole university fun shenanigans. It did go better than I thought it would, and I didn't need to ask what vacations he plans on using it for now that youngest sister won't need it. Not going to go into details, but he did admit he was wrong and provided our share in the cash amount if we want to buy a house at some point in the future. So, win-win, I guess. I would say jump on that agreement to buy a house right away because For some reason, it's going to hit me that youngest sister decides she wants to start a career and she's going to need a house to get it. And reading this story, that they'll probably just say, oh no, youngest sister needs this house more than you guys do. You have degrees. You can get good jobs. She's going to need some help. That's going to happen, right? I just know it from reading this.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.